Elon Musk might have just had the most impressive 72 hours that any human being has ever had.
I think that's fair. So in the last week, he on October 10th, he unveiled the robo-taxi, the robo-vans, the Optimus. Well, he'd kind of unveiled that before, but like the new generation of Optimus, he had them sort of going around, proving their dexterity, what they can deadlift and lift, and serving people drinks, all sorts of things, like little humans, basically. And then on October the 13th, he had the Falcon Heavy, which is a rocket 19 stories high, drop out of the sky at half the speed of sound and be caught by basically a pair of giant chopsticks and prove for the first time ever that reusable rockets, as was his personal original theory against all the odds and every expert's points, is physically possible, as in the laws of physics allow that to be a concept that we can use in space exploration. And he proved it to be true. All of this
Quite the week.
in the last week. Yeah, ridiculous.
What have you done this week?
I sent some emails, had a little crowdfund thing going, saw my mum over the weekend. It's been productive. What's hilarious is I actually feel like I had a productive week.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that entrepreneurs, all of us, sit here and we think we've got incredibly busy, incredibly stressful, incredibly important lives, and there are some levels to this shit. Like, I have a friend that I do business with, and we talk a lot about like how stressful and busy and stuff that we are, and we always have this saying, which is like, Elon's building fucking rockets, so like whatever we're doing, it can't be remotely the same, and we must be going wrong somewhere, and it must be something like, at its core, vision setting and delegation.
There's another level to Elon Musk when it comes to risk. He's just the guy who puts all his chips on the table every single time and goes all in because he knows the probability at some point, if he just keeps doing it, he will win.
Yeah.
But he just like, well, he'll take all the L's. He'll take all the losses along the way. He doesn't care.
So he's had the most impressive week ever. As entrepreneurs, all incredibly inspired.
Hold on. Because amongst all of that, right, he's launching this the rocket in Texas.
Yeah.
Right. He's at the event, for Tesla, and doing this whole amazing PR event. He's also going to Republican rallies on stage in person to go with Trump.
Yeah, to bounce around with Trump.
That in itself, it's like he's a presidential candidate person now as well. Like, that usually takes like a complete marathon kind of energy. All in the same week.
Yeah, I mean, he must have an absurd level of energy generally, because to do what he does on a day-to-day basis, to make it to the rallies, to act in the way that he does, I wonder how much that man must sleep. Because his output is unbelievable. And in the same week, he gets snubbed by the UK government. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah, so, I mean, their official stance is that they didn't snub him.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really quite true. Basically, he actively said he wants to come to the UK's investment summit, which happened on Monday. And no word from them. Nothing. How do you exclude the world's greatest entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's wild. And they say that they didn't stub him, but he wanted to come. The UK is one of Tesla's key markets. Certainly one of the countries that views the Tesla launches more than any other country. And to put ourselves in a position where we're not doing everything we possibly can to try and get him in, I don't know.
I'm thinking about personal agenda and then people. So on a personal agenda side, the Labour government haven't invited him to the summit because they're annoyed by his inflammatory tweets over the UK riots about a month ago.
Two-tiered Kia.
Two-tier Kia.
Two-tier
kind of
Kia.
Stuff, right?
That's right.
On the other side, when he does the launch events, the number one views on Earth for those launch events on Tesla, the cyber van, the robo van, Optimus, etc., it's all in the USA. And the second greatest views come from the UK. So even though these are just views and it's just Twitter, regardless, you can say people have an interest, right?
God, yeah.
There's clearly people in the UK who are deeply interested in the technological advancements of this incredible entrepreneur and his amazing companies.
And we're a huge purchasing block for Tesla. I mean, fundamentally, we do. And so in the situation we're in now, the UK, day by day, and we talk about this a lot in entrepreneur circles, you and I do, is wavering in how positive it is for businesses right now. We've got the threat of capital gains tax going up from whatever it is, like 20-ish to 39%. And so immediately the UK is less exciting for entrepreneurship. And so if I was in their position, I would be doing everything physically possible to get him to want to invest in the UK. Gigafactories, technology, job creation, inspiration, All of those things.
I mean, he employs thousands of people, so he'd be great for an economy.
Absolutely.
Any economy.
You may not like him personally, but that doesn't mean that from a technology standpoint, he's bad for the UK.
If I'm Keir Starmer, I should be in a position of, okay, the man doesn't like me. He's criticizing me. I'm an adult. I'm a politician as well. Prime Minister. I'm going to get criticized all the time. Yeah. I'm going to do the right thing for the economy. And actually, Keir would come out looking really good. Yeah, actually, completely. I think people would really respect it if he was like, you know what? It doesn't matter what he said about me. If this is good for the country, I want it. Exactly. And this is actually one of the problems that they've got into in the USA with the Democrat Party. NASA and the government kept giving contracts to Boeing for instead of SpaceX because of a personal attack against Elon not wanting to support Elon. You know, you got the Boeing aircraft in the International Space Station. The astronauts are stranded until March or April because of Boeing fault for a government contract that was worth hundreds of millions, if not billions. And they've had to get Elon. Elon is now sending people from SpaceX for free on his own dime to go and rescue the astronauts from Boeing. Amazing PR.
Great PR.
But it's a perfect example of where you can't separate out politics from economics.
And then you think to yourself, why is he so publicly against the Democrats? You think to yourself, well, you can understand why. He has been thwarted at every step possible. Yeah. And Trump is kind of saying to him, well, you know, you can be part of the solution. And to me as an entrepreneur, the idea of having an entrepreneur like Trump in government is exciting.
Unbelievable.
Take aside his personal, which again is a consideration, of course, but from a technology, efficiency, revenue, profit perspective, I want that man in there.
Over the last decade, Chris and I have started over a dozen businesses. It's not something we're particularly proud of, by the way, but it means we've had a lot of exposure to different business banks. You try one, you're not so happy, try another, you're not so happy. The cycle goes on. By this point, between us, we were laughing, but we tried them all. There was one we actually hadn't, and it's because they're newer, and we weren't really familiar with the fact that they had this option. So we wanted to try that based on our own knowledge and compare it. And I tell you what, it is head and shoulders above, and we are thrilled to be using and partnering with Wise Business.
Basically, Wise Business is the only account you need to get paid, pay employees and suppliers, and manage your business's money in multiple currencies.
Exactly. With Wise, you can do business across the world, pay, get paid, and manage your business's international money with ease.
And look, here's the thing. You actually save money as you grow. No hidden fees, no sneaky markups on exchange rates, and no ongoing subscription costs. It's like finding money in your pocket that you didn't know was there.
But my favorite part, and this is crucial, it's just so damn easy to use. I know because I'm the one who set it up for this company.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you're lazy. I was never going to get you to do it. But anyway, you can make payments in as little as a few seconds, and it integrates with all your business software.
You can easily withdraw funds from Amazon, Stripe, and more in multiple currencies. And it connects to accounting softwares like Xero and QuickBooks. But damn, what about security?
Well, as you know, every time you try and log in and take money out of the account without checking with us first, the security is amazing. They've got two-factor authentication, a 24/7 customer support team, and a fraud team working around the clock to keep Chris off our money. I could go on about all of the amazing features, but seriously, when you're a small company or even just starting one, there's already so much going on that having a payment service that's quick, easy, and, by the way, most importantly, reliable is just an absolute necessity. And for that reason, we use Wise. If you want to get on board, it's simple. Just head to wise.com/business to learn more about how Wise could work for your business. So let's get into some of the actual things that they did. So Optimus.
Yeah.
So have you had a chance to look at Optimus? Have you seen Optimus walking around?
I have. Yeah, I mean, impressive promises, very good deadlift, 5 miles an hour they walk. They have a growing dexterity. So I think they have, did they have 12 fingers? Is that right? Or 12?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. He's saying that he reckons this is the world's first ever $1 trillion product.
Right.
Because every single person will have one. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Which is a huge bet, right? That's like a massive, massive thing.
I love Elon Musk. I find him incredibly inspiring, inspirational, etc. But I was always a little bit critical and cynical of him. And weirdly, I then bought a Tesla because it was the most efficient thing for me to do. And I honestly think it's one of the best things, the best products I've ever bought. I think to myself, if I wanted someone building the product, I'd probably want it to be him.
So the question is he the guy that you want being in control of an autonomous robot in your home?
On the Switch.
A robot who, robot who has a better deadlift than you.
Yeah, exactly. And then you do think to yourself, it is a bit like Terminator and iRobot all coming together with AI, and you're like,
with a lot of trust in one man.
Yeah, Christ, his finger's on the button.
Right, it's scary because on the surface, seems like a great idea. On behind the scenes, yeah, a little bit nuts. So let's talk about the next thing, which is so cool. Yeah. Cybercab. It looks amazing. I mean, it got some derision from people, but I think that is the coolest looking thing ever.
What's the derision based on? Fear,
haters,
safety?
I guess. Yeah, also the design people thought was like weird. I think it looks incredible.
Well, again, like where do you, let's say you have one chip to bet, you do. Who do you bet the chip on?
Elon every time.
Like every time. Like I'd bet the chip and have it.
Elon went on the idea of autonomous driving in Teslas. And so he installed all these little cameras, and basically the de facto thought at the time for all the autonomous driving, so this is Waymo, this is Uber, they were using a certain way of doing it. I can't remember what the autonomous driving plan was, but essentially using like GPS, etc. Right? And he was all about using 3D vision cameras. And he was like, basically, the way to figure this out is not to map out all the maps and all of those things. It's to build 3D vision cameras with AI into all the Teslas. Yeah. And once you do that, and everyone who's driving a Tesla is providing more insight and data into his map. So his idea was, by doing that, you compound an understanding of what cars will understand in relation to other objects, each other, people, etc. Yeah. And that'll be a better network. And once you do that, it's unique IP that other people can't beat. So again, he's thought 10 steps ahead of everyone else in how you do autonomous driving. Totally. So here's what I don't get.
Yeah.
Cybercab looked like the coolest thing ever.
Right.
He said it's going to go to $30,000 again. So another product that could be $30,000 and cheaper on the mile than basically anything else in the market so far. What happened to their share price?
Was it 9% slump?
$60 billion of Tesla value wiped off.
I mean, the probably be back soon. What I think is probably happening is the market is kicking back and saying, we don't think what you're saying is feasible. We think that you're marketing.
Right. And who's smarter, the market or Elon Musk?
It's just a matter of timing. And so, like you say, he's been talking about autonomous driving for 10 years.
Yeah, but he's right.
Yeah, he's right. And it's going to happen.
And people laughed him, and they were wrong.
Yeah.
And then also, he obviously just casually brought out this like insane van, the robo van, which can carry up to 20 passengers. And you could also turn it into like an RV and all sorts of incredible stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And again, like it's all met with so much criticism and negativity because of what we were talking about before the show, which is that he is now both Elon Musk, the person, incredibly politicized now. And then obviously like everything with Twitter, I think has done an unbelievable amount of damage, but also probably positives to his name and power. And
he often says that the price of Twitter wasn't $44 billion. The price of Twitter was free speech, preserving free speech for humanity.
Yeah, and he's very good at statements like that, isn't he?
And to an extent, he's right. Like, there isn't free speech available on the other social media platforms, rightly or wrongly. It's one place where it still exists en masse to people, unfiltered. That is a libertarian view on whether that's good or bad for society, but it's his view. And I suppose it's a fair point to say, if all other social media is like this, it's only fair to have something that's like that and let the free market decide where they want to spend their time. But I think what's interesting is but how he's personally using that platform, is not necessarily appropriate, right? And so his personal political views, he now has over 200 million followers on that platform.
I mean, that's wild.
That's wild power. And for someone with that kind of power.
The Musk stuff is weird with some of his public brand stuff. He was so involved in like the crypto stuff publicly, like so many jokes about it.
Doge.
He like cultivated a entire part of his fan base that are like, I suspect not the most liberal people in the world that are probably quite counter to, the Democrats and whatever. And so weirdly, I feel like he's curating this like insane fan base who worship him as like almost godlike figure. His words carry so much power.
Yeah, they can galvanize people as well, right?
Completely.
Do you think that his businesses are so good that it won't even matter what his policies are, what his personality are? Or do you think that he can actually have a really negative long-term impact for companies like Tesla?
He's probably one of the few people I'd never bet against. Even with Twitter, I sit there and be like, I feel he's going to work it out.
He's great at sort of reminding people. He has a lot of things sometimes when he's criticizing the left where he's like, the left is very protective over words, the words are the most hurtful thing, right? And so they're trying to protect humanity from harmful words.
Yeah.
I'm trying to protect humanity from harmful actions.
Yeah, from actual things.
From actual things that will actually hurt people and the actual existential threat. So if you think like on a, I'm offended by the thing that you say, he's like, I get it, but that has no place in my companies because we're trying to create rockets that send people to the moon or to Mars.
In case the world
dies. So if you are a bigot and you work at my company, but you can send humans to Mars, what's more important to me, my HR department or getting humanity to Mars? I look at the bigger picture. And I think that's a really interesting dichotomy. At what point as leaders do we have a responsibility to take care of our teams, the culture, the things that you and I definitely really care about is part of the reason we care about that, because we care so much about people because we're not able to think in such grandiose terms like him, where the mission is everything.
Yeah. I care so much if someone's upset in one of our companies, and it will consume me for days. And so like, I do not have the capacity to think about the rocket. And I think, he's like the ultimate example of like founder mode, really, isn't he? He's like all in, cares about nothing but success. And if I'm honest with you, I feel like the world does need both.
Yeah. Love to know what you think. Is this the beginning for a new era for Tesla? Are the markets right in correcting this? Do you think they're absolutely bonkers? Is Musk going to get us to Mars in the next, in his lifetime, I guess, is the real challenge. So let us know in the comments. Would you go to Mars? Who would you rather work for? Chris and I will be nice to you, but we're not sending you to Mars, or Musk, where you can actually change the world. What kind of company, what kind of leader are you looking for? Let us know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the episode today. I'm Dan.
I'm Chris.
This is Secret Leaders. See you next time.
See you next time.